Hi, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of Too Opinionated, where today I'm joined by actor Hiro Kanagawa. How are you, sir?
Hello. I'm very well. How are you?
We're doing great, and thank you so much for coming on the program. I'm such a big fan, and this was
Oh, thank
this is
you.
definitely a highlight for me.
No, it's my pleasure entirely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I wanted to start by, I did some reading on you, and I understand that you got into kind of the entertainment business a little bit later than some people do, and I wonder if you could talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think my very first acting gig was actually in a student film in high school,
Oh
you
yeah,
know, and I also took theater classes in college.
yeah,
So, I mean, I had been, I did a West Side Story in high school and so
yeah.
on, student plays and so
So
on.
you've
But
been
yeah,
acting some.
I didn't go to theater school. When I was an undergrad, I was actually involved in visual art,
Yes.
and I also played music. So those were my focuses in my late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
So
What
I didn't
instrument did you play?
guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I still play to this day. I think
Awesome.
there's one in the background you can see. Uh,
Yeah.
but Yeah, I didn't really get into acting professionally until my late 20s. Uh, so, I guess that is a little bit later than some people.
Yeah.
Uh,
How did well, I did see where your first acting job was as an Elvis impersonator.
I think the first credited one on IMDb is Elvis impersonator on a very short-lived Bill and Ted's show that was on.
Yeah,
I
TV
think it was
show.
on in the very early days of Fox.
Yes.
There was a Bill and Ted series, and yeah, I was an Elvis impersonator. But I'd done other things, but that is the first one that's credited on IMDb
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty good. You've been in did you ever intend I'll ask it this way. Did you ever intend to do so many different science fiction and fantasy type of shows? I mean, you've been in just about all of them that have come out in recent years.
Yeah. Well, they shoot so many up here in Vancouver,
Yeah.
and yeah, I don't know that. I'm certainly not like a super geek when it comes to the science fiction.
Yeah.
Um, I have certainly appreciated Star Wars back in the day,
Of
and
course.
Blade Runner and Alien, and the really iconic science fiction movies. I was never a fan of Star Trek as a kid.
Yeah.
Um, so I was not, as I say, a super geek, but it's just part of the industry. It's a huge part of the industry here in Vancouver.
Yeah.
So over the years, I have most certainly done my fair share of
You've
science
been
fiction.
you've been on a lot of them, and I
Mhm.
knew that Andromeda had been filmed in Vancouver, so that one didn't surprise me. But you were on stuff like Sliders, and making
Yeah, oh,
appearance.
that's
I know you had some great apperances with X-Files and Millennium and
yeah.
Lone
That's.
Gunman.
I guess I wound up over the years doing 7 separate things for Chris Carter.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
3 X-Files.
Yeah.
Actually 8, because there was 3 X-Files. I was actually in 4 separate episodes of Millennium, and then a Lone Gunman as well. So that would make 8.
How did that relationship develop?
With Chris Carter,
Yeah, where you just he
well,
kept using you in his
he just
shows.
kept using me. He kept
Yeah.
using me. Yeah, and the last time I saw him was at season what wound up being called, I guess, season 10 of X-Files,
Yeah.
the one that came out a few years ago.
Yep.
And I had a scene there with Mulder, and uh, I have like a UFO in a Faraday cage, but then the facility gets blown up by some you know whoever they are, and
Right.
then in the script it was quite clear that my character gets blown up too. But then, I saw Chris Carter on set, and he decided that he wanted to leave it ambiguous if my character survived or not.
That's
And
good.
then we shot it, and then I don't think it made the final episode, but there was a shot of me on the ground, injured but not quite dead. And then after we shot that, Chris Carter came up to me and said, Hiro, consider yourself still alive in the X-Files universe.
You never know. That show keeps coming back.
That's right. So if that show comes back, maybe that character will come back.
That'd be great. You're on a couple of shows that I really enjoy, but you'll have to remind me what you played, because it's been a while. But Dark Angel and the 4400.
Right. Dark Angel was I believe I was in the pilot.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I played a character named Theo.
Yes.
Who was I guess he was Jessica Alba's character. She was a bike courier, was she not?
She was. Yes, she was.
She was, yeah. So I was another bike courier that worked in the same company as her. Yeah. And in the pilot, I was sick. I got whatever disease was going around that was, whatever the disease of the thing was that the product was based on. I got sick with that, and she came in to see me in my apartment, and I had a couple of scenes in that episode.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that was you, but I wasn't 100% on that. So
yeah, and what nice story is, we shot that in like August.
Yeah.
And so I met her, and I guess I couldn't have had more than 2 days on set with her. And then that December, I went to visit some friends in New York, and I was just wandering around Barney's department store, browsing around, and I hear someone call Hiro, and I turn around, and there's Jessica Alba.
Oh, that's awesome.
I thought it was pretty cool, because you work with someone for 2 days, you don't necessarily remember them 5 months later, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but
that's nice.
I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, and we had a little conversation, and yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Now my wife, she remembers you. We watched iZombie.
iZombie, yeah.
And she loved you on that one. She was very upset when that ended. So yeah, that was. She said, "Make sure you bring up iZombie." I was like, "I'll make sure."
Yeah, no, that was a great. I love that show. That
it's a good show.
Had such a nice tone, a nice comedic tone for being a zombie show.
Yeah, well, it's based on a comic book, and it was
that's right.
Written, of course, by the gentleman that did Veronica Mars, and it had a little bit of that same tone and feel to it as that show. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really. It wasn't what you would expect from a zombie show.
That's right. Yeah, that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, me too. It was really, really great. So I know that you're a playwright, and that you have written several, and even won an award for. I want to make sure I get the right one. End in Arm, right? Which was that's like a adaptation of an Ibsen play. Is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the Ibsen that it's based on is a very obscure play called Little Eyolf. Yes. It's only been performed in the English language a handful of times in its 100-year history. Wow. But I think a lot of people may be familiar with what is the inciting incident of Little Eyolf, which is essentially it's a middle class, upper middle class, fairly well-off couple, married couple, and the inciting incident of Little Eyolf is that while they were having sex, their baby, fell off of a table, and he's crippled for the rest of his life. So the play is about this couple who are struggling with the remorse and guilt that they feel, you know.
Yes.
And you can imagine it was written in the early 1900s.
Right.
So, you know, you can imagine if you extrapolate to that time, you know, the tremendous guilt and remorse that this couple would feel about what they had done to their son during a moment of sexual, you know, abandon.
Right.
Um, and that inciting incident is actually used in, I don't know if you're familiar with Lars von Trier. He's a European art house director. He made a film called Antichrist with Willem Dafoe and
Yes, I've
Charlotte
seen that film.
Gainsbourg. Very controversial film,
Yes.
but it uses the same inciting incident, right? Uh,
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
right. So the play basically is about this couple who are trying to, you know, navigate life with this guilt and remorse. In the original Little Eyolf, Eyolf actually dies at the end of the first act.
Okay.
So the rest of the play is about how this couple go on with the rest of their lives when they have to redefine their relationship to one another and to the world, because up until then, their whole lives have revolved around Eyolf and the guilt and remorse that they feel. So once that's gone, you know, how do they move forward? How do they redefine
Right.
themselves? That's what the play is about.
Yeah.
And then I was commissioned by a company here in Vancouver to do a modern adaptation of it. And my adaptation, Indian Arm, is set right, you know, 15 minutes from my house. There's a glacial fjord called Indian Arm.
Yeah.
So I set the play on Indian Arm. Now, the thing that I added to it is that uh, Indian Arm is the traditional territory of the Tsleil-Waututh indigenous First Peoples.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And here in BC, we have a lot of, our relationship to the First Nations is very contentious
Sure.
because unlike the rest of North America, the native people of British Columbia never officially ceded their land either through war or treaty or whatever, you know.
Right.
So the land technically still legally still belongs to them, right? So, you know,
Okay.
the city of Vancouver, everything in BC technically was never ceded,
Oh,
right?
wow. Yeah.
So my play gets into that kind of land claim issue as well. So it's really about the relationship between Canada and its First Nations, which is a huge, you know, in the U.S. Obviously you have you know, one of the main social issues, if
Right.
not the main social issue right now, is the relationship between the dominant white society and African Americans.
That's right.
And in Canada, we have a very similar situation between the dominant white society of Canada and its First Nations. So, you know, that's really what the play got into. And in 2017, it received the Governor General's Award, which is one of the most prestigious literary awards here in
Yeah.
Canada.
That's amazing. It's such that's some very deep themes, you know, for a
Yes.
play. That's terrific. Have you thought about, you know, turning that into a movie, or taking that to Broadway, that type of thing?
Yeah. Well, Broadway is a separate issue. I mean, there's the commercial theater, and then there's you know, the kind of independent avant-garde theater that I'm
Right.
involved in here in my community. And I have, you know, I've worked on some television series here in Canada as a writer. So
Yeah.
I'm very, you know, interested in both aspects of, you know, the theater as well as the film and TV, and writing for both mediums. I find that adapting one to another is not always as straightforward as it seems.
Right.
I think theater tends to be a much more lyrical and expressionistic medium,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of things that you can do with language and so on in the theater that you can't really do in film and TV as we
Right.
understand film and TV today, you know, like in
Right.
terms of
Right.
commercial film and television, like Hollywood film and television. They're
Yeah.
kind of two completely different beasts.
Yeah, no, and we've talked to several writers and actors, and they say the same thing. You know, it's not always a straightforward, you know, adapting to one or the other, and sometimes you lose something when when you try to do that.
Right.
Yeah, well, I was really curious about that because it's uh, such a unique story and very it really tugs at you in a lot of different ways. And your adaptation, it's tugging on a relationship level, but then you have that whole kind of higher view between the country and its citizens, and it's just really a unique way to do that. That's why I was curious if you thought about adapting it, because that's the themes you would think would translate.
Well, yeah, it's all about I guess ultimately it's all about getting a producer interested, or getting a financier interested in the project, and it's become very challenging. And obviously with COVID-19 now, it's become even more challenging.
Yeah, it's definitely slowed things down. Although now that we've talked about it on here, get ready for the phone to start ringing.
Oh yeah, the phones are going to start ringing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, is this a phone-in show? Like people phone in on this? Do they?
No.
No, it's not. Right? It's not. This isn't live. No, you're
it
recording.
isn't live. No, we've done a few live shows, and they're a lot of fun to do. But yeah, we record these, and that allows us to edit out at least a few of any errors that we make along the way. So I saw you in what I think is a very underrated program, but I saw you in The Terror.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah, I really love this. It's kind of an anthology, so it changes year to year.
Yes.
But this second season, really good. I loved you in that. That was
Thank you.
That was really good. I was sitting down, I was thinking of all the different things I'd seen you in, because there's so many, and I was like, that's the one I gotta let you know that I thought you were great. It was such a good cast in that.
Yeah, and that was my reunion with Kiki Sukezane, who is the ghoul.
Yeah.
And she played my daughter in Heroes Reborn. Do you remember that?
Yes, I had forgotten about that. Yeah, and you were so good in Heroes. That was great. Yeah, I completely forgot that she was the daughter in that.
That's right. Yeah, she was Katana Girl.
Yeah, Katana Girl.
That's
terrific.
Yeah.
Well, did you know ahead of time that she was in that role, or did you find out once?
I think I did. Yeah, I didn't know that she was in that. Yeah.
Yeah, she was really good in The Terror as well. It may have been more popular than I thought. I haven't heard as much buzz about it, but it was really well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one, and of course you were in Altered Carbon. I loved your role in that. I saw
I think that would be one of my favorites, I would think.
Yeah, it's such a good. The whole show is such a unique concept, and of course it's based on some older science fiction, but really good. But yeah, so you got to play a police captain in that one.
Yeah. I think the last 5 to 10 years, I have played a lot of detectives and police captain. I mean, iZombie there, once again, that was, head of the homicide department there, and then Altered Carbon, the head of the Bay City Police.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that that's something that's kind of in my wheelhouse now, those kinds of
roles.
Yeah.
We see, now we need to get you. We need to get you a lead detective series. That's what you need.
I'm actually going to be recording a podcast where I'm the lead detective.
Really?
Yeah. So
can you tell us the name of that one?
You know what? I should probably clear it with the people who are.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes you got to be
so many things now, you need to, clear them before you can talk
That's
about
right.
them.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. But yeah, we'll look forward to that one because we love
Mhm.
listening to podcasts, and you do so many voiceovers. We're geeky, so we loved you as Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's
But
awesome.
you've
I
done,
have,
talk a little bit about your voiceover work because I know you've done a lot of that.
yeah, I have, and I have. There's one that just came out called Monster Beach on
Okay.
Cartoon Network, and
Yeah.
I believe you can catch episodes of it on YouTube as well. It's in Australia. It's I guess the producers are Australian,
Oh, okay.
but although the voice cast is all or mostly out of Vancouver, and yeah, I have a really cool character on that called Stress Leave. He's like they're all monsters on this
Yeah.
tropical island, and he's basically a Japanese businessman who you know drifted ashore onto this island. Now he's a ghoul, and he's called Stress Leave. So that just recently came out. And then during COVID here, I booked a series regular on a new series, a kids series, and then I'll be doing the narration for a Netflix series called Age of, a docudrama about the Warring States period in Japanese history.
Oh,
When
wow.
yes, when kind of the around the time that the Shogun series is based on. So
Well, look forward to that.
yeah, so there has been, as before we started recording, I was mentioning that throughout this COVID lockdown, the voice work has kind of continued.
Yeah.
So there've been several projects that I've been involved in, and yeah, you'll be hearing about them soon, I hope.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope so. That's exciting. That's good stuff. And I'll definitely check out the Monster Beach. That's pretty good. I enjoy those type premises. I'm a new grandfather, so I've got
Okay.
last year I've had 3 new grandbabies. So always looking for stuff to watch with the kids. So we'll
Well, they're
check
pretty
that.
young now, though. Still, right? They're
They're
like a
still
year old.
young. They're still young. Now it's just a matter is if it's a lot of collars, it'll catch their attention. But yeah, they're not
Right.
really paying
Hmm.
attention to what's actually happening on the
Right.
screen. So
Well, when my son was that age, about a year old, he just became obsessed with Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
oh, I love that movie.
I probably watched that. Individual scenes, and I probably watched like 300 or 400 times because every day for like a couple of years, he just wanted to
Yeah.
watch Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Yeah.
Can you watch it now though?
Well, I don't think I've seen it in several
That's
years
right.
now. Yeah.
That's what happens because it always seems like they fixate on something.
Yeah.
My children went through Barney, and my daughter was a big Disney princess type of thing, and you watch the
Right.
same stuff just over and over and over, and then when they get older, you're like, I cannot watch that anymore.
Well, yeah. Well, and the kids themselves, like my daughter, will have nothing to do with Disney princesses now.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
They don't
She's
want to
11.
admit to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
How many children do you have?
I have two. I have a 14-year-old son and
Yeah.
a 11-year-old daughter.
Oh, those are fun ages.
Yeah.
Those are challenging ages, but fun ages.
Well, yeah, we've had our challenges, but no, they're good kids.
Yeah.
And it's been good to have them around during this lockdown.
Yeah.
Keep
Of
us
course.
company. Yeah.
Yeah. That's terrific. So you were, if I remember right, you were actually born in Japan, but
That's right.
raised in Canada, and maybe a little bit in the U.S. as well.
That's right. Well, there was actually a time when I moved to Vancouver, when I was just before I turned 30. There was a time in my life where I'd spent a third of my life in Japan, a third in the U.S., and a third in Canada.
Wow.
Because, yeah, as you say, I grew up part of my childhood in Sterling Heights, Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit.
Yeah.
But then I also went to college and a year of grad school in the States. I went to Middlebury College, a very very Tony liberal arts school in
Yeah.
Vermont. And then I did a year of grad school at the Tyler School of Art, which is the art school of Temple University in
Oh,
Philadelphia.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there was, and there was a time before I moved to Vancouver that I was maybe thinking of settling in New York instead.
Right.
But and then I wound up in Vancouver.
Yeah.
But whatever, that worked out well for me.
Yeah.
Uh,
It seems like it's done pretty well for you.
yeah. But yeah, I was born in Sapporo, where my parents still live now. And actually, another voice thing is Sapporo beer. I was the voice of Sapporo beer for.
Really?
Yeah, there was an ad that played during the World Cup, Sapporo beer ad, and I think it's
Yeah.
coming back now.
Oh,
In
that's
fact,
awesome.
so
Yeah,
so
that's
that was
really,
a that was a thrill for me because I'm from Sapporo, and
yeah, that's
to
great.
be the voice of Sapporo beers, that was kind of
I
cool.
was I was going to ask you if you did any acting in Japanese productions.
You know what? I haven't. The closest I got was actually a BBC docudrama
Yeah.
about samurai that was shot in Kyoto.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and that was a big thrill because we went to Kyoto and we worked at the studio down there that does all of the big samurai dramas. So
Yeah.
we had all of our technical advisors and the costumes and so on, and the locations that we got to use in and around Kyoto, all uh, very traditional locations, and that was a huge thrill. We spent about a month in Kyoto shooting that.
Yeah.
That was very definitely a career highlight for me. But
Yeah, that's great.
yeah,
Yeah, that's did I see that that you did a little or are doing a little bit of teaching at a college?
I did for 4 or 5 years. Um, when my kids I haven't done that now because I quit I think 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But there was a period when I was thinking, I better have something to fall back
Back
on.
up.
I don't know that once my kids are in high school, right? I mean, just thinking of all the expenses that were going to come my
Sure.
way, I
Yeah.
was thinking, if I have a lean period in film and TV, I better have something to fall back on. So I got this job teaching playwriting at a university here. But you know what? That didn't really pan out,
Yeah.
in terms of financially, it wasn't really like, and then, instead the film and TV got better and better for me. So, I'm in a
Yeah.
fortunate position in that I tried to get a day job and it didn't work out for me. The acting wound up to be better for me.
Well, that's well, good. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good thing. Did I saw that you did or at least studied some in sculpting. Do you
Yeah,
sculpt?
I did. Well, that, as I was saying, that was my when I, because I got into acting late in my late 20s,
Yeah.
and until then, I was a visual artist. I was involved in sculpture mainly, and I don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I, part of it is I just like to. I'm kind of low maintenance, and I like my life to be low maintenance, and I'm
Right.
not particularly materialistic. And to be a sculptor, you got to have a studio. You got to have all these tools. You
Right.
got to have all these materials, and then you build these things, and then where do you put them? You know, and there were just so many things about that lifestyle that they just didn't, suit me.
Yeah.
So, if you're an actor or you're a writer, what do you need? You don't have any, in terms of, there's no overhead, there's
Right.
no equipment, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and so that's just that freewheeling kind of, no strings attached kind of thing that's more my gig, as
Yeah.
opposed to like having to have a lot of stuff to do my thing.
Well, that's all the thing anymore is to kind of keep it minimal and,
Hmm.
kind of take the stress out of life with,
Yeah.
all the
I mean,
things
I
that
would
we
have
can't
loved to have been a
accumulate.
musician too, but I just hate lugging my own amps around and, you
Yeah.
know, all the,
Did you play in a band or anything?
yeah, I did. And I most dearly would have loved to have been a rock star or,
Of
a
course.
working musician, but just lugging the gear around and the
Yeah.
cables and the late nights and yeah, that didn't suit me.
Yeah, you've done a lot of different things.
I have,
That's
I've
really
kind of,
great. They're all very artistic.
yeah, it's been a life in the arts for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrific. Is there a type of show or movie that a genre that you haven't done that you would like to do?
That's a good question. A genre, hey? Hmm.
Yeah, that's what we
You know,
do. We ask the hard questions.
right. Well, I mean, I think for sure that as an Asian actor, over the years, it's changing now. But
Right,
when I was younger, obviously there was not the opportunity in film and television in North America for an Asian man to like be the romantic lead in anything. You
right.
know, so I think that's that would be cool if even at my advanced age now, if that was something you know that I could get into, or yeah, I mean, there's certainly some very prestigious, high-profile franchises that it would be cool to be a part of. I mean, if they ever make another Star Wars, I think that it's kind of a sin that we've never seen an Asian Jedi when,
Agreed.
after all, come on, like the whole Jedi thing is based on samurai,
Right.
right? I mean, Darth Vader's
Oh,
helmet is a samurai helmet,
absolutely, it is.
and the light and the way they use the fighting style with the lightsabers,
Yeah,
that's completely lifted from samurai movies, right?
we could
So
totally see
how
you
can
as
you
a
not
Jedi.
have like all of these dozens of Star Wars movies and spin-offs, and there's no Asian Jedi, there's no Japanese Jedis.
Yeah.
You got to have one at least. You got to have There should be like a whole battalion of
Yeah.
Asian. There should be a whole battalion of Japanese Jedis,
All right.
right?
Well, you sold me on it. Let's make it happen.
No, I think that should happen, and then then I could be a Jedi.
You would fit right in with the Mandalorian or
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
you could yeah. I think that's terrific. I was going to say I saw you've done a few and I'm sure I honestly I've probably seen them because every time one comes on we have to watch. You've done a couple of Hallmark movies.
I have done a couple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's most people don't know that they are one of the largest producers up here in Vancouver.
Oh yeah, I didn't know
Yeah, a
that.
huge percentage of the production here in Vancouver is Hallmark. That
Really?
is true. Yep. Now we're there's a little bit of a social backlash against them now, especially because their shows have not been particularly diverse.
Right. Right.
And with the last 3 or 4 weeks with Black Lives Matter and all of the attention that has come, there's just people all over the world have come to realize that we really need to deal with this issue of racial injustice and racial
Yes.
inequality. And when Hallmark came out and they tweeted something, and it was just kind of a very superficial, we support Black Lives Matter or whatever. But I think a lot of people were rightfully calling them out on their record, which is
Right.
that they have not been particularly supportive of having diverse casts in their productions,
Yeah.
right?
I think
So
That
That's
seems to
something
be
that
the,
they're going to have to deal with.
yeah, for sure, and so important right now, and that seems to be the difference this time, which is such a great thing, is that um, there, companies and individuals are getting called out.
Hmm.
It's not enough just to say, we support. They're
Right.
actually having to show that they're doing that, and I think that has to be a good change
Right.
that's starting. I'm very hopeful that all the things that we're going through right now are going to lead to just a
Hmm.
much more inclusive and diverse system.
Now, having said that, obviously, as you say, I've been in a couple, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and I've been in a couple I was one where it was a mixed race couple. It was Vanessa Lachey.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I
I
saw that.
played,
That's the one I figured that we have seen, and she's so great.
that's right, and I
Right.
played her dad.
Yeah.
And so that's an example of one, and I think a lot of people would wish that there was more of that from that
Yes.
particular company.
Yeah. Well, and I told you I'd love to see you in a lead role as a detective, something like a Bosch, or one of these, a lot of the streaming services doing detective shows. I think you'd be
Hmm.
great. You've shown you're really good in those type of roles. I'd love to see it.
Well,
But now I'm kind of wanting to see you as a Jedi, so I don't know. I may have changed that. Well, yeah, sir, this has been just terrific, and I could probably talk you to death because you've been in so many shows that I've loved over the years. You've been very prolific, which is a
Well, I'm glad.
blessing.
I'm glad that so many people, have enjoyed all of the shows and have, been following my career and so on. I mean,
Yeah,
it's great to have that love and appreciation from the science fiction fans and the fans of all of these various shows.
Oh,
Uh,
and I can't leave without mentioning Limetown.
oh
Um,
yeah,
oh yeah, it's such a good show. It's on Facebook Watch,
that's right.
which anybody can watch it. You just go on there and check it out. It's not behind a paywall or anything. But talk about that real quick before I let you go, because it's such a good cast there. Jessica Biel and Stanley Tucci and
Yeah, no, that was another great experience. I'm sad to learn that it's not coming back for a season two,
yeah,
because there were two seasons of the original podcast.
right,
Um, but yeah, that was a great experience, and I actually worked out quite a bit for that role because as you know, I play this reclusive billionaire
yeah.
who in the script is described as being about 70, but having the body of someone 25, 30 years younger. And so I actually trained. We're fortunate here in Port Moody. We have an MMA gym, and
Oh,
the people who run it are world champions.
wow,
Uh, yeah. In fact, Lance Gibson Sr., the man who runs it,
yeah.
his wife Julia Budd was a three-time MMA at the featherweight level. She was a
Oh,
three-time world
wow.
champion. She just recently lost to Cyborg, Chris Cyborg.
Yeah, a lot of
Uh,
people have lost to Cyborg.
but yeah, but up until then, she was the reigning featherweight champion.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I went and trained with her for 8 weeks to
Well,
get in
what was
shape.
that like? Was that
Well, that was
that had to
hard,
be
man.
rough?
I mean, I stay in pretty good shape anyways, but yeah, for sure, the first couple of times I almost threw up, on the drive home. Uh, but you know what? I wound up. I really, for the first time in my life, I finally understood this whole idea of like the runner's high that runners
Yeah,
talk about. Um, I really felt that euphoria towards the end there. I'd go and work out
yeah,
with Julia, and then I would just feel so good, you know,
yeah,
afterwards. But you know what? The way those guys train, MMA fighters, boxers, anyone like that who's involved in a martial art where they have to actually be in combat, hand-to-hand combat with someone else. The way that those people, they've got to be in the best shape of anyone on the planet.
Have to be.
The way that
Yeah.
they train.
Yeah.
So it was actually quite a great experience to do that in preparation for the show.
Yeah.
And then what I really appreciated about Limetown is that from Jessica Biel's involvement, the director Rebecca Thomas, there were just so many women in positions of power on that show, which you don't ordinarily see in our industry, which is still very much male dominated. You know, the director of photography was a woman. The editor on that show,
that's great.
the lead editor was a woman. So there were a lot of women involved with that show, and I think that's something that you know, I appreciated. I love women, and I love their perspective, and so it was really cool to be involved in a show where, you know, so many women had an opportunity to be in positions of responsibility.
Yeah, that's great, and that's another thing that I think is slowly changing for the good.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely,
yeah, it's definitely a good time in that respect, I think, right now, because things are starting to turn a little bit. So very good. Well, sir, thank you so much. And you know, before you go, you know, you've got so many fans out there. You know, where can they find you if they want to know a little bit more about what you're up to?
Well, online, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have a website, hirokanagawa.com.
Yep.
But on Twitter and Instagram, you can find me at Hiro Kanagawa TV.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Just my name, and then add TV at the end, and you'll find me there.
I'm assuming you're gonna tweet out. You know, once you're able to say some of these projects you're involved in, you'll let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
We'll be waiting.
All right.
Once you get that call for that Jedi role, you know, we're ready.
Oh yeah, well, you'll be the first to know.
All right, sir. Well, thank you so much, and stay safe. And you know, hopefully, things will return to normal soon. We can all get back to doing the things we love.
Yes. All right, man. It was a great pleasure. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, likewise. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too.
All right, sir. Talk to you again soon. Okay.
Okay.
Bye. All right. So that was Hiro, and what a terrific guy. That was a thrill for me. I'm such a fan of his, and we barely scratched the surface of all the shows that he's been on that touch, you know, what I call kind of the geeky genre. So a lot of the things that we love to talk about. And of course, he's done, you know, many other roles that are excellent as well. But let me read, because I can't remember them all. So let me read a few of the shows that he has been on. So we didn't touch on Smallville. He played principal on there. I can't believe I didn't ask him about The Man in the High Castle, Altered Carbon. You know, he mentioned the X-Files. He was on Highlander, the series, Mantis, The Outer Limits, Sliders, Dark Angel, 4400, Andromeda, Stargate. He was on Blade, the TV show, Supernatural, Reaper, Caprica, Human Target, Fringe, Continuum, The 100, and iZombie. And of course, we mentioned Terror and Limetown. I mean, just an unbelievable career as far as just showing up on all these series that I love. So really great. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I did. Please, you know, take a minute if you would, and like us on Facebook. We're under MeisterCon. We also have a Patreon page. If you're interested in supporting us, we'd really appreciate that. It's under patreon.com/MeisterCon. Really appreciate everybody watching, and we'll see you and talk to you again real soon. Bye.